Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for watching another one of my videos. I do truly appreciate it. And while you're here, just hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and it'll help grow the channel, and I would truly appreciate that. Today I'm going to do my top baits for May. I should have already had it done, but we spent the weekend at National Cheer Competition in Orlando, and then the plane got delayed because of storms, and I'm still tired. Anyway, top 5 baits for the month of May. You still have some fish spawning. I think maybe a full moon tonight, possibly, which bring in another wave of them. You'll have fish spawning. You've got post-spawn fish, and possibly some fry garters. There's pretty quick going to be the bluegill spawn and shad spawn. Shad's already spawning, truthfully, in some lakes anyway. Not all of them, but in some lakes shad's already spawning. So with all that being said, these baits are going to be baits that I will use around bass spawning beds, be baits that I will use around bluegill spawning beds, be baits that I will throw around the shad spawn. So let's get right to it. And also, we've been getting a lot of rain, so the water has been coming up, and which is also flooding a bunch of green grass and green trees. And boy, you just can't beat those conditions when you got green grass or green trees in the water. So that's going to be part of my equation too. So my first bait is going to be a buzz bait. Buzz baits work really, really well around flooded grass, flooded bushes, around the shad spawn, and work it over the top of bluegill. Throw a bluegill colored buzz bait and throw that over the top of a bluegill bed to get bass to bite. Number 2 is going to be more of a category, because it's either going to be spinnerbait, chatterbait, or swim jig. But I usually use either the spinnerbait or the swim jig. Some people rather have a spinnerbait and chatterbait. Other people rather have chatterbait and a swim jig. Just whatever. That'd be kind of a category. I'll have one of those tied on. Probably 2. I'll probably have a spinnerbait and a swim jig tied on. If I'm fishing and I see a lot of other people throwing a spinnerbait and not many people throwing the chatterbait, then I may switch to the chatterbait. Or if I'm fishing, I see a lot of people throwing spinnerbaits and chatterbaits, then I'm going to go to the swim bait for sure, because it's a lot more subtle, and it's something that they're not going to be seeing as much as they're seeing the spinnerbait and chatterbait. But anyway, the spinnerbait I'm going to be throwing is a 3/8 ounce, so I can keep it shallow a lot easier. With most time it's going to be a single Colorado blade. Sometimes a double Colorado, or maybe a Colorado and willow combination. I want that Colorado blade to give it more lift, and it's a blade that I can reel slower too if I need to, and fish, but still be able to fish it shallow. But it's either going to be a shad color, bluegill color, or if it's stained off colored water, I'll put on a coleslaw and with a double white willow blades, and maybe a orange or fluorescent red kicker blade on the front, which would be a Colorado. I usually use Colorado for that kicker. But anyway, the 3/8 ounce spinnerbait, working it shallow. If there's fresh vegetation or brush in the water, I'm going to be putting it on the bank. If that water is rising and that water is up in that stuff, you got to put it on the bank and bring it out. Those fish will move up and they will be on the bank. Same way with the swim jig and chatterbait. Chatterbait gets hung up a little worse in that thicker grass, but it works pretty good getting it through like water willow and that kind of stuff, or somebody's lawn that's been mowed. Chatterbait works fine. If you have a flower bed that's flooded in the water, just anything that's flooded in the water is going to be covered. And for some reason, those bass, even if it's a slick mowed lawn that's just been flooded, it's still green, and those fish will just flock to it. Me and a friend of mine over at Norfolk in Mountain Home, Arkansas, we went over there and the water came up almost 30 feet in a week over there, and it had everything flooded. And we was going around fishing people's yards. Some of them had little walkways built down to the lake, and that walkway would hold fish. Their flower beds would hold fish, and we would just parallel the bank with spinner baits and buzz baits, and parallel the bank, put our bait on the grass and pull it back down into the water, and it would surprise you how many fish we caught in like 6 inches of water or less. So they'd come up there and just nail that thing, just throw water everywhere. But we did that for several days. We was over there fishing the Bass Cat tournament, and we was over there pre-fishing and just having a good time. But anyway, just spinnerbait, swim jig, and chatterbait, whichever you prefer, that's going to be another great one. Number 3 is going to be a crankbait. I'm still going to be throwing a crankbait. It may be a square bill, or it may be a rock crawler style bait. But I'm still going to be throwing crankbait, because you can bring a crankbait through bluegill beds and deflects off those bluegill beds, and those bass will come in there and hit it. You can fish, I like fishing anywhere from 5 to 6, 8 foot of water, somewhere in that range, maybe 10 foot, and working a crankbait and catching bass on that crankbait. Number 4, I'm still going to have the wobble head tied on with whatever plastic you prefer. Mine will be a Big Bite Baits Fighting Frog. I catch a ton of fish on that. And something else that I've been playing with is putting a Berkley Flex Gill on a wobble head. I'm having some pretty good results, I'll have to say. I'm having fun seeing what all I can do with that bait and get bites. But anyway, maybe a Flex Gill will be another one of my baits that'll I had to have tied on too. Especially with all this new brush in the water and stuff. A lot of stuff for me to pitch and flip in. I'll flip that Flex Gill, pitch and flip that Flex Gill in around all those new bushes. You're gonna catch some fish. another top water, or another couple of top waters you're going to want to think about. Well, 3. I'm not a big frog person. A lot of people love to throw a frog. I'm not that guy. I'm not a big frog person. But this time of year, with all that spawn, bluegill spawn and all that stuff going on, a frog will catch you some fish. But these 2 baits I will have tied on, especially around when the bluegill spawning, is a popping bait, is a popper style bait, and a prop style bait like a devil's horse or a pawpaw, one of those. And I'll work that way. I can work it really slow. Same way with the frog, you can work it really slow over the top of those bluegill beds, over the top of bass beds, around the bluegill spawn or the shad spawn. And that's another place that spinnerbait, chatterbait, and swim jig's going to work awesome, is around that shad spawn. Don't forget that. I almost forgot to mention it. Got going down other rabbit holes and forgot. And then last but not least, you cannot forget the stick bait, the Senko style bait. You can still Texas rig it, you can still Carolina rig it, you can still wacky rig it, you can still weightless rig it. But a Senko is definitely going to be in my arsenal for the month of May. And I will catch a lot of bass on that Senko, especially if I'm fishing and they're being stubborn and not wanting to bite. A high bluebird day, right after a front went through, you can throw that stick bait, that Senko style bait, and it seems to generate strikes. So those are going to be my top baits for the month of May. But if you are having issues of getting bites, I did the video the other day on it. If you're having issues getting bites, don't forget, this time of year is an awesome time to tie on the swamp crawler. Video I did the other day on the shaky head, the swamp crawler, and a small tube, or just a tube. Those are 2 more baits that will be good this month if you're having trouble getting bites on the power fishing. But I'd try the power fishing first and then go from there. And anyway, I'm gonna get off here. Those are gonna be the baits I'm gonna use. If you have any questions about what I'm gonna throw it on, the line size, anything, feel free to drop a message down below, and I promise I will answer it. And I'm gonna get off of here. Y'all have a great weekend, and I will see you guys out on the water.